As part of our special focus on the world of Indian startups, budding entrepreneurs, and their terrific ideas. So many just out-of-the-box innovations and, of course, disruption. Today, a very special guest. Of course, all our guests are special, especially once they join us on the program. But today, someone who's really taught women how to shop for intimate wear online, opening a new window to them. My great honor to welcome on the program Richa Kar, the founder of Zivame. Richa, thanks so much for joining us on the program. Traditionally, we are a culture where women are reluctant to talk about intimate wear, to talk about lingerie. Really, you know, even amongst themselves, there's a sort of certain coyness, as it were. So it's unusual to see women browsing through intimate wear, browsing through lingerie, you know, at a traditional brick-and-mortar store. But you are the one person who sniffed an opportunity here. What was that like? What made you think that this is where you wanted to be, and this is perhaps where Zivame would find its niche?
Yeah, so it's you're very right that culturally, socially, we are not, accustomed to, look at innerwear or lingerie in the way we look at any other pieces of apparel, right? That we would possibly be wearing. There's always a sort of taboo or a discomfort around it, but you end up wearing your innerwear for the longest number of hours in a day. And when I was kind of 29 and a half years old and I was working, I just happened to be working for a big lingerie giant across, and that's where actually I kind of said, okay, these guys are so big, and that's where I said that, okay, I don't even know what I wear and how I consume it, and what's the size, etc. And I said that if I'm 29 and a half and I don't know it, and I must have traveled like all over the world, etc., then what is happening in India might be also similar. And I started talking to a lot of my friends, and I realized that in this category there are actually a lot of issues around the experience that kind of manifest in the offline world. One is that this category has a lot of sizes, because every woman is sort of unique, and this a bra needs to fit you in the best possible manner, because it sits so intimately on your body. But retailers cannot stock all the sizes. There is social discomfort because you go to across the table and ask for something, somebody will judge you immediately, or somebody will tell you this size is not available, why don't you compromise, upgrade, downgrade, etc. Right? The third is that people don't get meaningful consultation. Everybody's body is different, everybody's need is unique. Most of the over-the-counter people are not trained to consult you adequately. Of course, we are not talking about problems in the tier 1 cities only. These problems actually amplify when you go to tier 2 or tier 3 cities, where the woman may not have even worn something branded for her entire life, right? For her, lingerie is just something that you pick up, wear, and forget about it, right? And possibly then hide everything, right, around it, right? So I think that is where I said that, if something is so intimate to a woman, why can't the experience be a lot more joyful and meaningful for her? Something that she's spending only truly on herself. It's like going for a spa. You only know what you have felt and experienced, right? That is what lingerie is for a woman. And I decided that we need to change the experience that the Indian woman is getting in this category.
Right. Now, when you began, it was, I'm sure, sort of an unusual area to focus on, as it were. I'm sure that you had a lot of convincing to do to people around you. You have said that your parents were supportive, but there's a certain quote that from your mom that you speak about quite often that caught my eye, which is when she said, "Apne friends ko kya bolungi? Meri beti bra panty bechti hai computer pe." And the reason it strikes a chord is that it's not just my mother who would have definitely said that, but I can bet loads of mothers around the country would have said exactly that. So, I mean, I'm sure that it took a lot of conviction in your own idea to deal with that. Give us a sense of what that was like, and what does mom think now?
Yeah, I think back 4.5 years back, today e-commerce is a very common word, right? So, and I quit my job, and at that time I hadn't even gotten married, and I just told you my age. So my mom had definite reasons to be concerned about what I was doing. But and she was like, the more important thing was not really, you won't get married or whatever. Will you be able to support yourself? It's about more about, hey, in my social circles, what am I going to tell? Like, she's selling bras and panties on a computer. That's what she said exactly. But what is more gratifying to hear right now is she and her entire group, bunch of friends, they shop on Zivame.
Right, and you, of course, an engineer from BITS Pilani, you've done an MBA from Narsi Monji, all of that. Like, your mom did say that after studying so much, doing an engineering course, doing an MBA, this is what you wanted to end up doing. But how do you believe that this is a deadly combination? In India, it's so coveted. You do your engineering, you do an MBA. How do you believe all that has contributed to where you are today?
I think, see, there is always, you're always thinking about ideas. You're always wanting to create something. I think that was always there in my head, right? And a lot of ideas came in, took some sort of life, but they never bloomed in the way Zivame happened. So there was there was a little bit of a calling, definitely, I would say, at different stages in my life pre-Zivame. I think where I got my confidence was actually from the fact that, I had good education behind me. I had a good foundation. I had good corporate experience. So if I were to fail, what is the worst that would happen? I would take up a job somewhere else. I think that's a very, very meaningful thing for people to go on and try something of their own, because, at least I'm not scared of failures, right? I'll take a job. I'll be able to financially support me.
So then fair enough to describe yourself as a risk taker, wouldn't you say that?
Absolutely, absolutely. If you have to be there, I would just say there has to be a certain amount of fearlessness that is sometime illogical also to people around you. Because if you're going to change something around you, most of your people will say it cannot happen because it hasn't happened. Right? So everybody else will question you and they will think that it is insane and you're being mad to do it. But there needs to be a certain amount of fearlessness to just go about doing it.
We know, and there's absolutely no doubt in anyone's mind, that the road to starting up is not easy. And it's never quite done either, because you're always trying to stay ahead of the game, trying to think of what next, how to sort of expand, scale up, etc., and all of that. You've said, and I quote, I work 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. I don't do any housework, as I have household help to take care of that. I don't socialize. I don't have time to interact with my parents. I only work. Question one is, how long do you believe you can sustain this?
Whatever you're hearing and you're putting it together is making me sound like really a very, very, unsocial, unlikable person. But that's not true at all. Actually, I think, I really enjoy what I'm doing. Some very few people are so lucky to find something that motivates them and drives them every day. And I really like it. I really like the crest and troughs that this journey has brought upon to me.
Right, now you're also married to an IT professional. Now, how does all that come in? There are all those women who sort of say, you can't have it all, but perhaps you are proving that you really can. How do you sort of work that delicate, cliched, if I may say, home-work balance?
I think the energy is a lot more internal because when I look at problems around me, I have nobody else to blame and nobody else to go to have a solution other than myself. So I believe that we can be the change that we want to be, and therefore a lot of it is to actually be very, very disciplined, very focused, and constantly be excited. The day I don't feel like getting up and coming for work, it is all over in my head, right? And therefore I'm also very, very blessed to be surrounded by people around me who are proud of what I do and have supported me through and through.
You are, of course, perhaps in an area where we're still not comfortable. Like I said, it's almost taboo to talk about, innerwear in this country now. So was that an extra problem, or did you sort of have to go through the same usual problems? What do you believe was the biggest issue, the biggest hurdle that you personally had to face, Richa, when setting up Zivame?
Yeah, I think, every entrepreneur, if your company is not making money, needs to look at external sources of capital and to fuel its growth, right? And to get more and more market validation, right? So for us, we've been very, very lucky to get funded at the right times, but the journey has never been very, very smooth. And there have been nights when I could feel, the pit in my stomach and my heart almost coming to my mouth, to say that, oh God, I don't know what to do, when we were looking at, when you look at your available cash and you're looking at all the people who you have taken, you have, booked orders from, like we do a bit of manufacturing also. And then you're like, okay, there are so many people who I have to pay, and if I don't get my money in time, there will be a lot of problem. And how do I tell them all that, there is an investment that is imminent? It's been very, very difficult, but even in those days and nights of really hardcore, I don't want to call it soul searching, but yeah, maybe soul searching. It's somewhere I've always visualized that I visualize success. I don't know what it means, but I have never looked at what is the worst that could happen. I don't visualize that at all. I always visualize what is the best that could happen. What do I do of this situation and make the best of it? I don't look at what is the situation and how bad it can be. So therefore, there is never option B in my head. It's always that option A that I need to kind of ace, and that's what I do. And over time now, I've become a lot more, I would say, mentally a lot more at peace. Because once you've seen all of this is what everybody else would say is the rites of passage of an entrepreneur, right? You have to have those one nights where you feel that you will die. You will have an anxiety attack or panic attack, and you'll feel that you'll just die today. You'll have a heart attack or whatever else. And having gone through all of this, now I think I go to yoga and meditation to have a very, very stable mind. And I think that keeps me very, very grounded now. It just helps me keep very grounded.